That down, let's move on to this. So the NBA season kicked off last night, and a couple of really interesting games. Honestly, games that didn't look that interesting to me, but ended up being really interesting. And the first one we got to talk about, the one that kicked it off, was the defending NBA champions, the Boston Celtics, went up against a team that some people out there, I was reading through them yesterday, some people are picking to knock off the Celtics in the East this year, the New York Knicks. They still got Brunson. They added Cat. They're an improved team. The Boston Celtics absolutely curb stomped the New York Knicks. I watched this game. I think I missed the first quarter, but then I watched the game. And the final score was 132-109. Don't be fooled. The game was not that close.
The game was over in the first quarter.
The game was over before the end of the first quarter.
It was toast. Yeah.
They beat, forgive the language, but they beat the living shit out of this team. They spanked their ass and told them to say thank you. It was an embarrassment. It got so bad that Boston just started playing. Like they were just like, oh, we've got 29 3-pointers, which tied the NBA record. And they just started running down the court and tossing up 28 more threes.
Yeah.
They missed, 11 or
12 in a row. They couldn't break the record. They tried, but they couldn't do it.
But you know what? It didn't matter. They knew they could.
They're just playing themselves.
Basically. They had already totally humiliated the New York Knicks. Like, just humiliated them. It looked like it was a different team. You know what the thing is about this Boston team? And I was watching them, particularly in the third quarter. I don't think they have a single player that's in the top 4 players in the NBA. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to Tatum, but he's great. He's great. But I don't think he's a top 4 player in the NBA. You know what they have? The best chemistry. You watch that team play. They flow like water. They are so in sync. Their timing with each other is so shorthand. Like they just play brilliantly. And here's the interesting thing. Like White, third best player on the team, maybe fourth when they're completely healthy.
Third or fourth, depending on Porzingis.
He's a lot of team in this NBA. He's a lot of teams' number 1 player. Like this guy he's like the cog that makes the whole machine work. You got Brown going off. You got Tatum going off. I mean, it was just an absolute humiliation. So the question I have for you, Ryan, is what is the story from last night? Just how good the Boston Celtics are, or that we overestimated how good the New York Knicks would be this year?
I think it's both. When a team shoots 50% from 3, basically, no other team is going to beat, unless they're shooting 50% too. Like they were hitting every shot. Every guy was hitting threes. Tatum went off in the first quarter. I kind of mentioned in our show yesterday that I think he has a chip on his shoulder, and I think it showed last night. He had 37 points. I think he didn't even play in the fourth quarter, so he's like going crazy. I do think the Knicks need more time to gel, but that was a horrible outing last night. They pretty much, it seemed like they kind of gave up after the first quarter. I think Cat is not known for his defense. He's going to give you points, but he's not going to get any stops, and that's what they kind of needed last night. Same thing with Bridges. I don't know if anybody's noticed. Bridges has kind of changed his jump shot. There's a film from early in the season.
Yeah, I saw a clip on that.
And he has like a weird hitch in it. I mean, he didn't shoot horribly last night, but not great. I want to see how it pans out over the season.
And didn't Tatum change his jump shot too? I was reading something he was working on the
in the Olympics there was comments about how his jumper was kind of weird.
Tell you what, man, he looked
not last night. He was fine last night.
He looked smooth
Can I say
last
something
night.
real quick?
Yeah.
The way that game ended with them hawking up all those threes and stuff, for me, and I'm not trying to be whatever. I agree with Ryan. They need time to gel. We'll see what these teams are made of by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But teams don't forget that. I wouldn't forget that. I wouldn't forget them just chucking up threes at the end, just like, embarrassing my team. And it'll be interesting to see if the Knicks remember that late in the season when they're playing whatever game, many games they have.
Although at the very end, I think there was 1 minute left. They stopped trying. They dribbled the ball up and they stood there.
Yeah.
The coach was like, don't do it.
I think they were heaving up the threes not to run up the score. They were just trying to break the
trying to break the record.
They
the crowd
needed one more three, but still. But I do think, though, that a part of that, even like after the first quarter was done and it was clear, we are a high schooler beating up on a grade school kid, right? I think Boston, though, in the first game out, it's kind of like the day you go to prison, find the toughest guy and beat the shit out of him. They wanted to make a statement.
Yeah.
And they wanted to send a message to the whole NBA. These are the guys you say are going to dethrone us in the East? Yeah, watch what we do.
The scary part is Porzingis didn't even play.
They didn't even have
So
Porzingis
they don't
in the
have
lineup.
their third best player, center, whatever. Like, yeah, it's going to be tough. The Knicks need more time. Hopefully they can learn from this. But like we said yesterday, the Celtics are the best team. So
anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you take away from that game last night? I took away from it that Boston dropped their pants, pulled it out, and peed on the tree saying this is our territory. They just completely hospitalized the New York Knicks last night. Whatever your takeaway from it was, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.